Hello, I'm Mamse. Let's talk about doing scientific investigations. This content is composed of two lessons with the following learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, Scientific Knowledge and Attitude, you should be able to 1. Compare local superstitious beliefs, practices, and other influences on how problems are solved in daily life. 2. Recognize the importance of scientific values in decision making and problem solving in daily life. Consequently, these are the learning objectives in discussing the scientific method. 1. Identify the different steps of the scientific method. 2. Demonstrate what is meant by fair test. 3. Accept constructive criticism in doing scientific investigation. Lastly, conduct simple investigations using processes involving community-based problems using locally available materials. Have you answered Activity 2, Quick Survey? What is the result of your activity? Let us review your answers. Do you believe in them? 1. Would you refuse to live on the 13th floor? 2. Would you turn around to avoid passing a black cat? 3. Do you say God bless you after somebody sneezes? Or 4. Do you knock on the wood to avoid spoiling your good fortune? 5th, do you jump on New Year's Eve? 6th, do you believe in anting-anting? This quick survey assesses how superstitious you are. How many yes answers did you get? If you get 5 to 6 yes answers, you are a very superstitious person. 3 to 4 yes answers, while you might observe many of these superstition beliefs, you do not let them govern your life. 0 to 2 yes answers, you prefer to live firmly in the world of reality. Are you a very superstitious person? Whether or not you believe in them, you're probably familiar with few of these superstitions. So how did it happen that people in the world believe in them? In the beginning, they took these events to mean that other events were about to happen. This explanation took on the form of beliefs or the superstition. Shooting stars, sometimes known as fallen stars, also have a lot of superstitions about them. If you are worried about money, all you need to do is stand outside on a starry night, and if you can say money 3 times before the shooting star disappears, then your financial worries will soon be over. On the other hand, people believe that witches use black cats as a way to carry out evil deeds and communicate with the devil. Other myths claim witches would transform into a black cat as a way to hide their identity or cast spells in secret. Fourth example of superstition here in the Philippines is don't go straight home after the wake or funeral. Visit a mall, sari-sari store, or any place before heading home from a funeral or wake. This prevents the dead from following you to your house. The Filipino term for this superstition is pagpag. Last example, serve pancit or noodles at celebration, especially birthdays. This ever-present dish at Filipino gatherings is believed to represent long life. Some beliefs and practices, on the other hand, do have scientific basis. For example, one common practice is placing a metal spoon in a glass before pouring hot water into it. People believe that the metal spoon prevents the glass from breaking. This is not superstition. It has a logical basis. Metals are good heat conductors. When hot water is poured into a glass with a metal spoon in it, much of the heat is absorbed by the spoon and is conducted away from the glass. This prevents the glass from breaking. Your attitude determines your altitude. The way you perceive inquiries and issues regarding a natural phenomenon determines how you understand, learn, and apply scientific concepts. This may either benefit or destroy oneself, society, and environment. Using these scientific attitudes responsibly will help you make wise decisions and solve problems efficiently. The scientific attitude listed has been observed by the majority of scientists or researchers. What are scientific attitudes? Why are they important? Let's find out in the following situations. First situation. Lisa is always studying in their cozy living room. One day, while Lisa is studying her math lessons, she smelled something unpleasant. The smell bothered her that she cannot continue what she is doing. So she asked help from her parents and find that unpleasant smell came from. What scientific attitude is present in this situation? You are given 5 seconds. Correct. Curiosity. A person is always curious about why and how things happen in this world. Situation number 2. Carter is doing an experiment, but after so many trials, his experiment is really not acceptable. Everything he did was a mistake, but he really wanted the high grades, so he covered up the mistake that he did. He manipulated the data and falsified all results. What is the scientific attitude that he did not show? The answer is intellectual honesty. But why? It's because a good researcher presents a legitimate report of observations. He should acknowledge the contribution of other sources. Last situation. Grade 8 Peach, Pink, and Green will compete in a role-play competition in science class about disaster preparedness. Alex and Tony are the leaders of Grade 8 Peach. Tony asked their group mates about their ideas. One of their group members suggested that it will be better to make it a musical role play, but Alex told them, "No, I will not accept any ideas. My ideas are right," while Tony respectfully gave comments and suggestions about their groupmates' ideas. Who is more open-minded? Another 5 seconds will be given to you. Very good. Tony is more open-minded than Alex because she can accept comments and suggestions by the other persons. Do you like detective or mystery stories? This mystery situation is going to warm up your brain and stretch your imagination. You have to pay attention to the little details and think outside the box to get the answers right. Four friends regularly visited the sauna together. They always brought something with them. Jack, a musician, took an iPod with him to listen to music. Steve, a banker, took a thermos to drink out of. Patrick and Michael were lawyers and took documents to read. One day, Patrick was found dead. He was killed by a sharp object. Policemen came immediately and conducted an investigation. Yet they found nothing. I will give you 10 seconds to think who is the killer. These are the pieces of evidence. Let's find out who is the killer. Four friends. Jack, who is a musician, took an iPod. Steve, a banker, has a thermos. Patrick and Michael are lawyers and they have documents with them. Yet one day Patrick was found dead. He was killed by a sharp object, and the policeman found nothing. Again, there is a sharp object. How could this have happened? Patrick was killed by Steve, who brought an ice shard in his thermos. The murder weapon had melted away by the time the cops have arrived. If you get the correct answer, you're a critical thinker. But don't lose hope. If you get wrong answer, a good scientist or researcher never give up. Humans are sometimes too creative for their own good. For example, a skillful lawyer can easily find convincing explanation for the things that are wrong. To avoid this when studying the world around us, it would be wise to follow the scientific method. Scientists or researchers follow a procedure when studying a certain phenomenon. This procedure is called scientific method. It involves the application of knowledge and problem-solving skills. It can be done anywhere. It often follows a general pattern. This figure shows one way to solve problems. Some scientific investigations may require the addition of new steps, repetition of some steps many times, or skipping some steps. Here, the first step is you need to ask a question. Second, make a research. Third, make an educated guess. Fourth, record and organize the data from your experiment. And you need to make a judgment and share the result. If the hypothesis is accepted, you need to repeat the experiment several times. Otherwise, you need to modify the hypothesis and make a research to think or see what is wrong. Let's apply the scientific method in solving problems in our daily lives. Nana wants to determine which detergent is the best. There are too many detergent brands at the sari-sari store, so before buying any, she first asked other housewives to know which detergent each one considered the best. There were various responses, but she decided to consider only the top four choices. The top four detergents are malinis, maputi, mabango, and matipid. She bought these detergent brands from the nearby sari-sari store. She thought that maputi, the most expensive brand, would be the best. Nana decided to use one brand of detergent each time she washed clothes. For each brand, she took note of how long the detergent lasted, how pleasant the smell of the clothes was after they had been washed, and how well the detergent got rid of dirt. After observing all this, she was convinced that Malinis was the best detergent. It lasted longer than all three other detergents. Clothes that were washed with Malinis had the most pleasant smell. This brand got rid of dirt faster than all the other detergents. Nana was glad to know that the most expensive brand is not necessarily the best all the time. From then on, Nana used Malinis every time she washed clothes. Let's think about this. What did Nana want to find out? I'll give you 10 seconds to think of your answers. What is the answer? Nana wanted to determine which detergent was the best. Another question. How did Nana find the answer to her question? Another 10 seconds. The following are the steps that Nana carried out to answer her question. Step 1. She asked other housewives which detergent they preferred. From among the responses, she chose the top four detergents. Step 2. Nana decided to use one brand of detergent each time she washed clothes. For each brand, she took note of how long the detergent lasted, how pleasant the smell of the clothes was after washing, and how well the detergent got rid of dirt. Step 3. Based on her results, she was convinced that Malinis was the detergent because it lasted longer than other detergents. Clothes that were washed with Malinis had the most pleasant smell. This detergent also got rid dirt better than all other detergents. These are the following steps of the scientific method used in Nana's problem. 1. Identify the problem. 2. Gather and study information. 3. Formulate a hypothesis. 4. Test the hypothesis. 5. Make a conclusion. And 6. Verify the conclusion. Again, step number 1 is to identify the problem. A problem is based on one's observations. In Anna's case, her problem was which is the best detergent. Step 2. Gather and study information. Before setting out to answer the problem, Nana decided to get information about detergents. There are many sources of information. You can observe and find out more about the problem you want to solve. Nana asked other housewives which detergent they thought was the best. She decided to choose from among the top four brands preferred by the other housewives. Step 3. Formulate a hypothesis. A hypothesis is an intelligent guess to explain an observation. She thought that the most expensive brand of detergent, Appetit, was the best detergent. The hypothesis may come from the experience and observation. She may have noticed in the past that if something was expensive, it usually had a better quality than the cheaper products. Fourth step would be test the hypothesis. How did Nana test her hypothesis? She tested her hypothesis through experimentation. Nana tested the four detergent brands for the following: how long the detergent lasted, how pleasant smelling the clothes washed with detergent were, how well the detergent got rid of the dirty clothes. These things which Nana observed are called variables. A variable is anything that changes in value or amount. Fifth step would be make a conclusion. Do you recall Nana's conclusion? Based on the results of her experiment, Nana concluded that Malinis lasted longer than the other detergents. She concluded that clothes washed with Malinis were the most pleasant smelling and that Malinis got rid of dirt better than the three detergent brands did. Last step is to verify the conclusion. You can see that based on her findings, Nana had to reject her hypothesis that Malinis was the best detergent. How do you think Nana can verify her conclusion? Well, to be sure about her findings, she may want to repeat the experiment again. In repeating it, Nana should make sure that she follows the same procedure. She could first ask what are considered the top four detergents in her community. Then, she should test each detergent the same way she tested the detergents in her first study. The experiment may be repeated by the same person who first did it, or by another person. If the results are almost the same, we say that the conclusion is valid. Another example is given in your module, which is about what is the effect of vinegar on the growth rate of sunflower plant. Remember that Research should be conducted in a fair test. A fair test where only one variable is changed while all other variables are controlled or kept the same. When we say variables, these are the things that can be changed in an experiment. Some variables could be independent or dependent variables. Thank you for your attention. I'm encouraging you to ask questions. Keep on learning.